So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In today's live session, we will be discussing Indian Express of the day and we will try to cover as many articles as possible, and these articles will be relevant for your prelims as well as mains examinations. So let's start with the today's newspaper. Here you can see this is the front page. Here there is this political news. We will not go into this. Okay, other than that, this Bastar strike which has happened yesterday, we have talked about it in yesterday's newspaper. So we have covered the Naxal issue in a very comprehensive way. Now coming to this side of the paper, here you can say, can UP interfaith live-in couples can get police protection. So basically there is this law, that is anti conversion law in UP. We will be talking about that law and what is this issue of getting police protection. We will be talking about that in detail. So this article we will discuss. Other than that, we will be discussing 3-4 other articles that is related to your Southern Lonak Lake. So this is a lake which was in news because of certain things which has happened, like there was a flood like situation, or you can say there was floods in Teesta river which is flowing in Sikkim. So basically there was floods in Teesta river, and scientists are saying that that is because of this particular lake, okay, which is on the upper Riparian side of the you can say river. So we will be talking about what was the reason about the burst in this particular lake. We will talk about that, and then we'll move to the second article that is related to the floods in Dubai. Okay, we have discussed yesterday that Dubai is facing flood and UAE is also going through certain floods. But the thing is, I have told you that if they come up with the reasons, we will be talking about that. So in today's explained section, there were some reasons which has been cited. So we will see the reasons for these floodings. Okay, because Dubai has witnessed nearly 1.5 years of rainfall in a day. Okay, so that is something which is concerning. Okay, so we will be talking about that. Then relaxed FDI in space sector. You know that we have discussed or we have given a passing reference that Elon Musk will be visiting India, and in the before math of that, India's FDI sector, or you can say India's space sector's FDI has been relaxed. So we will see how it is, what are the new notification, what are the new orders relating to that. Okay, then around the world there will be one article we will be discussing, and then for your own read there will be 2 articles today. So these articles are not very you can say difficult to read. These are very simple, and I have given these articles to you so that you can go and read about the backward linkages. Okay, now last part would be your practice question for your prelims. Okay, we'll start with the practice question which was given to you in the last class. We'll see the answer of that question. So the question was, recently a term Iron Dome has been in news in context of which of the following country? USA, Russia, North Korea, Israel. This is a very simple question. Even I guess UPSC has asked about you can say air defense system of Israel in some previous year questions. Relating to that, I have given this particular question of Iron Dome. Israel is your answer. You can go and read about Iron Dome. This is basically a system which is anti-missile system or anti-drone attack, etc. They can be avoided because of this Iron Dome. Okay, so you can go and read about that. Now let's start with the first article of the day, that is related to your UP anti-conversion law. Okay, so here you can see, can UP interfaith living couples get police protection? So if a couple is there, they are having a consensual relation between them and they are living together, they are in a living relationship and they are of different faiths. Okay, in that case, if there is any kind of outburst or if there is any kind of threat to their life, can they get police protection or not? Okay, so there are some answers, or you can say when we are talking about the Allahabad High Court, they have given out of 15 cases which has arisen in front of court, out of 15 cases, in 12 cases they have denied the protection. In only 3 cases they have given a conditional protection. Okay, so we will see what is denied, how they denied it, how what is the conditional protection, etc. Okay, in 15 orders by 6th bench of the Allahabad High Court, over past year, 12 couples were denied cover on the definition of live-in and 3 got relief. Okay, so can interfaith couple in a consensual relationship fearing a backlash get police protection in Uttar Pradesh or not? Answer depends on the varying interpretation by the Allahabad High Court. As I told you, Allahabad High Court 6 different benches has given different judgments. Okay, they have actually relied on one particular law, that is your UP's Prohibition of Unlawful Conversion of Religion Act. Okay, so on the basis of this particular act they have given their verdicts. But the thing is, on the basis of same act, same provision, they have given different verdict. That means that they have taken the different interpretation. Okay, so that is the job of court, to go for the interpretation of the law. But ultimately here there is a chaos which has been created, because some judges or some benches are ruling in favor of the protection, some are denying that. Okay, so there is this confusion, and again now there is this appeal which has been made to Supreme Court. Okay, now here you can say answer depends on the varying interpretation by the Allahabad High Court. A key provision in the state's anti conversion law, or that is love jihad law, which it is called popularly. Okay, record shows that the court dismissed the pleas of police protection from 12 interfaith couples living in they were living in a living in relation. Okay, in 2023. Now, out of this, there was 3 out of 15 cases. There were 3 cases where there was a conditional protection which was given over there. Okay. Now, what is the section, or what is the provision regarding that? So there is this section 3, or you can say UP's anti conversion law requires prior sanction of the state for religious conversion, and the prohibited such conversion which are done for the purpose of marriage. So basically, if you are going for a conversion, the prior consensus, or you can say prior permission of state is required over here. So that is a provision in the law. Okay. Now second thing is that if you are going for a conversion for a purpose of marriage only, okay, so in that case there are certain restrictions. Okay. Now section 3 clause 1 of the law prohibits conversion by misrepresentation, force, fraud, undue influence, coercion, allurement, etc. So basically, if there is a person who is giving you some kind of incentive for that, such kind of you can say conversion will be unlawful. If someone is putting you a force, under a force, or some kind of fraud is committed against you, some kind of misrepresentation is there, some kind of allurement is there, in such cases wherein you have not taken the decision on the basis of your own conscience, okay, such cases, such conversion will be unlawful. Okay, this include conversion by solemnization of a marriage or a relationship in the nature of marriage. Okay, so if there is this condition, precondition, that if I have to marry you, if I have to be in a relationship with you, you have to convert such things, such pretexts, etc. In that cases they will be prohibited. They will be, or these conversations will be prohibited. Okay, so that is basically what the section says. That is why here prior you can say permission or the prior sanction from the state has been made required. Now, as I told you, there are certain cases wherein they have denied the protection. Okay, then there are conditional protections given. Conditional protection in a few cases wherein they were living in a relationship, but then court granted police protection with conditions such that couple are required to follow legal conversion process. You have to go for a legal conversion process and register their marriage. Sorry. Sorry. So in the conditional protection, what they have done is that you have to go for a conversion on the lawful premise. Here legal conversion would be allowed. Then you have to register marriage within a specific period of time. Okay, so under such condition protection was given. Then contrasting decisions. Here you can see that some cases this particular protection was denied, some cases protection was given. So there are contrasting decisions. Ultimately, that is based on the different anticipations, or you can say different interpretation of the anti-conversion law. Now, what is the challenge because of this thing? Challenge is that anti-conversion law in Uttar Pradesh is being challenged in the Supreme Court. Okay, along with the similar laws from the other states for potentially infringing upon the fundamental rights under Article 21. Now they are saying that they are this particular provision is going against the Article 21, because Article 21 says that this is right to life. Okay, other than that also that right to marry a partner of your own choice, this is also a fundamental right under right to life. Okay, so considering all these matters, this particular law has been challenged. Okay, other than that also based on the freedom of religion, etc. If you want to convert to another faith, why state has to give you a sanction? Okay, so all these things are challenged in the Supreme Court. Now Supreme Court, what will be the outcome once Supreme Court decides on this particular case? Now Supreme Court will take a particular interpretation. Now that will be followed all over the India. Okay, so outcome of the Supreme Court's decision on the challenges to the law will provide a clear guidance on the issue and may affect the future rulings on police protection for the interfaith couples. So that will be the implication of Supreme Court's ruling. Okay, so I hope this is clear. We can move forward with the next article. Now, unusual heavy rainfall preceded the glacial lake flooding last October. Okay, so in October there was this floods in Teesta river. Okay, so this Teesta river is flowing in Sikkim. So we will see what was the reason behind it. Here you can see this is the map here. This is the river Teesta. This river here is Teesta river. Okay, so we have a dam over here, that is Chungtang Dam. Okay, so please remember that there is this Chungtang Dam which is located in Sikkim on Teesta, in the vicinity of this particular lake. Okay, this lake is Southern Lonak Lake. Okay, now here you can see there are two different, you can say, glacials, that is Northern Lonak Glacier, and then we have Southern Lonak Glacier, and we have a lake, that is Southern Lonak Lake. Okay, now they are saying that because of the outburst in that particular lake, okay, or you can say glacial outburst, that was the reason behind the floods. Okay, so we will see what is you can say glacial outburst floods. Okay, so we will see what is that glacial lake outburst flood. We will see. Other than that, there is this report. Actually, once this particular problem happened in the Teesta river, so the government, or before that the NGT, National Green Tribunal, had asked the government what was the reason behind this particular flood, and second thing is, were there any kind of early warning, or if there was a early warning, then why is that this particular area was not you can say evacuated. Okay, or you can say the area of that particular dam was not evacuated. So that was the question, and on the basis of that question there was a report, or you can say reply, which has been given by the Sikkim government. Okay, so the government has said that there was you can say unusual heavy rains in the area, unusually heavy rains. So that is one thing. Second thing what they said was there was this ice avalanche. Avalanche means that there was a particular part of this iceberg which has been dropped inside this particular lake, and because of which water has flowed out of that particular lake, and then there was this flood like situation. Now reason behind this ice avalanche was not basically mentioned over here. Okay, so that was the two reasons. One is that there was this particular piece of ice which has fallen into the lake, and then there was this water which has flown out of the lake. Second, unusually heavy rains. Third was that glacial lake outburst floods. Okay, so we will see that in detail. So let's see the you can say article. In its first attempt in explaining the reason leading up to last year's flooding that killed over 40 people in the vicinity of the particular incident, Sikkim government has informed National Green Tribunal that more than usual heavy rainfall, possibly a cloud burst, has preceded the glacial lake outburst in that particular area. Okay, so they are saying that there can be a cloud burst, heavy rainfall, and that had led to a glacial lake outburst floods. Okay, now Southern or South Lonak Lake, in the South Lonak Lake. Okay, so this particular evidence, or you can say this particular you can say reason of being this flood because of the unusually high rainfall, that has been given on the basis of a report which was based on Northeast Space Application Center, which is dealing with the science and the technology, and they are giving some inputs related to that. Then water levels of the Teesta river rose as the South Lonak Lake, a glacial lake situated in the state's northwest. Here you can say this is your Sikkim, and then in the northwest here there is this particular lake which is situated. Okay, a glacial lake situated in the state's northeast at the 17,000 feet burst, leading to the release of water in the downstream areas. Exact cause of the flash flood, they are investigating the exact cause, but the primary reason for the sudden surge appeared to be a combination of excess rainfall and the glacial lake outburst floods. Okay, later it also becomes known that there was this ice avalanche sank into the South Lonak, creating tall waves of water. Okay, and led to the flood downstream area of the Teesta river. Okay, so these rivers or these reasons we have already discussed. Okay, still they are investigating this particular thing. The unusually heavy rainfall over the region appears to have resulted into a rapid downstream flow in the Teesta river, much greater volume that precedented, and which exceeded the capacity of the dam installed at the hydropower project at Chungtang Dam. Okay, so because of this heavy water flow, there is this particular dam, that is Chungtang, and then that dam was basically gone beyond their capacity. Okay, and that is why these floods were there. These are the reasons which I have already discussed why this particular reply is been given. Okay, now coming to the issue over here. When we are talking about the glacial lake outburst, here you can see this is a particular glacier. Okay, and then since you know that glaciers are formed of ice, and ultimately because of the temperature rise, ice are converting into water, or they are basically melting. Okay, so there is this particular place. Okay, and here there is this lake because of the melted water which has been getting collected over here, and there is this particular embankment. Okay, or you can say the corner which is holding the lake. Okay, now this particular lake, let's say if there is a lake, this is water, this is your glacier over here. Okay, now this will exert pressure on this part first. Okay, water has a hydraulic pressure. Okay, so because this particular ice is melting over here, and ultimately this will increase the water levels. Okay, one thing is that this particular embankment will be collapsing because of the hydraulic forces here. Second thing is there is a water force of this hydraulic force, or you can say gravity. Because of that also there is a particular force which is falling on this particular area. Okay, because of these force which are acting over here, and the increase in the volume of water which is increasing because of the melting of the ice, ultimately this embankment or this particular corner which is holding the lake, this will collapse, and once this this is collapsing, this water will start flowing in the downstream area. Okay, so similar situation has happened in the Lonak lake, whereas there was this glacier, and ultimately there was this small lake. That particular lake is your South Lonak lake. Okay, and since this particular area is melting, okay, so ultimately this water level was has increased, and this particular embankment has collapsed. Okay, because of this collapse there was floods in this particular area. Now this whole phenomena is basically called glacial lake outburst flood. I hope this is clear. Okay, glacial lake outburst flood. Okay, we have seen this particular map. Now this is as South Lonak glacier is there, it continues to retreat. Okay, retreat or melting. Retreating glacier means that since earlier it was like this. Okay, then this part of ice has melted, so now it is like this, then it is going backward. So that is basically your retreating glacier or receding glacier. Okay, so it is continued to recede or retreat amid global warming by another 400 meters between 2008 to 2019. So please remember this particular fact. Then glacial lake outburst flood, which we have already seen. Then what trigger could be, there was this cloud burst, unusual raining, and there was this ice avalanche. So all these things which we have already discussed. What are the mitigation steps that has been taken over here? So there will be a first expedition which will be sent to the glacial. Other than that, there will be 3 pipelines which has been installed. In case of extra water, they will try to divert the water from that particular area. Early warning system will be placed over there. Okay, it was set in place. Then Center Water Commission has initiated an advisory to evacuate South Lonak Glacier. Okay, so these are the steps which has already been taken. Okay, now Himalayan problem. When we are talking about all these areas where these glacial lakes are there, the problem is that one thing is that warming. Okay, because of warming, ice is melting. Okay, so that is one thing. Second thing here is that infrastructure. Because these areas or these are the hill station, people are going for the infrastructure building over there, like hospitality, etc., or you can say hotels, etc., because of which ultimately the pressure is falling on the areas over there. Okay, so these hotels, this infrastructure are going beyond the carrying capacity of that particular area, and because of which the isostatic equilibrium there will be disturbed, and because of which these incidents like ice avalanche or small earthquake, all these things can happen over here, and that will ultimately lead to some glacial lake outburst, etc. Okay, so that is the add to the building of the infrastructure. Okay. In 2021, a study warned that both the existing and the placed hydro or the proposed hydropower projects plants are exposed to the potential outward floods from the glacial lakes. Okay, so these HPPs, hydropower plant, as I told you, these HPPs are also basically storing water, and water has its own force, that is hydrological force, and which is sometimes become dangerous as well. Okay, so ultimately it will lead to these glacial lake outburst floods. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now we can move further in the next article. Now, what was behind the heavy rainfall that flooded Dubai? Yesterday we have seen that in Dubai and then some part of Oman, they have faced floods. Okay, now it is least expected that there would be such rainfall over here. This rainfall has exceeded the, you can say, 1.5 years of rainfall in just 24 hours. Okay, so when we are looking at the data over here, you can see the average here is that 94.7 mm per year. That is the average rainfall over here, and in the last 24 hours they have witnessed 142 mm of rainfall. Okay, so you can see that nearly 1.5 worth of rainfall which has happened, 1.5 years worth of rainfall has happened in 24 hours, and that has led to the flooding over here. Because when we see that this is area where rainfall is some kind of exceptional, because it happened in the mostly in the winter parts. Okay, when we are talking about this arid regions, this particular regions of you can say Gulf area or Arab sides area, this area is basically arid. Okay, and they expect rainfalls in winters. Okay, and these rainfalls are not too heavy rainfalls, just nearly around 92 mm per year. Okay, so that is the you can say rainfall over here which is happening, and because of which we know that there are less chance of flood. So they do not have some kind of, you can say, drainage system. They don't have a very good drainage system, and ultimately, since they did not have a drainage system for such capacities, when there was a heavy rainfall, ultimately there was resultant floods over here. Okay, now let's see what are the reasons which we will see in the article. Here you can see UAE recorded the heaviest rain even after a severe thunderstorm hit the country on the Monday night. Okay, so there was this thunderstorm, and afterwards there was these rains. Okay, a historic weather event, because since the inception of this particular state, or you can say in 1971, this UAE was established. Okay, you can say that. Okay, and since then there was no such event, or even you can say even after 1949, this is the first time such rainfall has happened over here. Heavy rain is unusual in UAE, which is arid Arabian Peninsula country. Okay, the occasional rains which are happening over here, they happens in the cool or you can say winter season. Okay, now what happened? Thunderstorm began on Monday, and after that there was this rainfall, that is 142 mm. As I told you, the average rainfall over here is 94 mm. So you can say that this is 1.5 worth of rainfall, 1.5 years worth of rainfall in a 24 hours, because of which Dubai's airport and the air facilities are hindered over there. Okay, and there was this disruption, or you can say hindrance to the air travel. Now the city of Al Ain. Okay, Al Ain, this city has faced 130, this is nearly 130 kilometers away, 130 kilometers from Dubai, and then here you can see that they have seen 254 mm of rainfall. We are talking about average, that is 95 mm. Average, if we see in the country, they have faced 142 mm, and here they have faced 254 mm. So obviously this city is right now flooded. Okay, then what led to the heavy rainfall? There are 2-3 reasons. One, if we do not understand any kind of weather pattern, we put it on the climate change. First thing, that this will be related to climate change. Okay, but there are chances that this is not only based on the climate change, because there are certain factors which are happening over here. There is the storm. A storm was passing through this particular area. Okay, so when we are talking about this area, this somehow like something like this looks. So there was this storm which is passing through this particular area. So what happened? Since there is a lesser rainfall in this particular area of UAE or the Arab Peninsula, when we are talking about, they go for the cloud seeding. Okay, so when we are talking about cloud seeding is a procedure wherein some kind of ions which are dispersed in the environment, so that there can be a nuclei on which water vapor can build a cloud. Okay, so that is the process of cloud seeding, which is done in the area where is less rainfall, and it is done for the so that rainfall can be more over here. Okay, so in this particular area also, in the past few months, these cloud seeding was done. Okay, they were not expecting some storm like this, but ultimately the cloud seeding was done over here few months back, and then this storm hit this particular area, and ultimately, since this storm has found the nuclei for on which this water droplet can accumulate it, and ultimately that has led to a cloud burst, and here you can see that situation has arrived. Okay, the primary reason is the storm system which was passing through the Arabian Peninsula and moving across the Gulf of Oman. Okay, now rain could have been exhibited by the cloud seeding, a process of spraying salt mixtures in the cloud that would result in the condensation of the cloud and eventually cause rainfall. Okay, so they have gone for the cloud seeding. The UAE's National Center for Meteorology has flown 6 or 7 cloud seeding flights before the rain. Okay, so they did not expect that the result would be such devastating. They thought that there will be a little bit of rain, which is good for that particular area. Okay, but the thing is, because this was a storm, ultimately it has led to a heavy rainfall over here. Now climate change could also be reason behind it. Okay, so that is one thing. When we are talking about the climate change, this is there is this warming situation, global warming, and because of this particular warming, the temperature of this particular area has increased to 0.4 degrees Celsius from 2003 to 2022. Okay, so there is a difference in the temperature, or temperature has increased over here, that is 0.4 degrees Celsius. When we are talking about the temperature increase, okay, since temperature is increasing, you know that this evaporation will increase. Once evaporation increase, that means that humidity in the area will be more. Okay, so when we are talking about 1 degree change, 1 degree Celsius increase in the temperature, if the temperature is increased by 1 degree Celsius, there can be a 7% increase in the humidity. If there is a 7% increase in the humidity, that means that water is there in the environment, and ultimately if there are ions like this, or cloud seeding is there, there are high chances there can be a cloud formation. Okay, so that is the reason behind this particular issue. Other than that, there are various factors like you can say El Nino, La Nina. These factors are acting when we are talking about the global winds. So these factors are always there. Here you can see multiple factors like you can say patterns of natural climate variability, El Nino, continuous climate change. All these things are factor behind it, but mostly you can say that it is because of the storm which was passing through this particular area, and they have gone for the cloud seeding, and ultimately that has resulted into the floods. Okay, now we can move further with the next article that is related to ahead of Elon Musk visit, rule notified for FDI up to 100% in space. Okay, so here you can see the Finance Ministry has notified amendment in the rules under the Foreign Exchange and the Foreign Exchange Management Act, that is FEMA. Okay, to go for the direct 100% direct investments for the space sector. Okay, so when we are talking about the current situation, so there was this particular policy wherein only government approval was required. Okay, government approval was required for the you can say these FDIs in the space sector. Okay, now they have actually relaxed these norms so that companies, foreign companies which are good in the you can say space related activities, they can come and invest in India. Okay, so here you can see to operationalize its earlier decision to allow up to 100% foreign direct investment for the space sector through 3 categories of liberalized entry routes. Okay, there are 3 categories. One is this, second is this, third is this, which we will see. Okay, ahead of the Tesla's chief Elon Musk visit to India, he is expected to meet space startups, make a push for his space ventures Starlink in India, and other than that electrical vehicles. So there are 2-3 things which we are thinking that he might be interested in. One is Starlink plan. Starlink plan is nothing but is a project of SpaceX, which wherein they are going for a cloud, or you can say constellation of various satellites. Okay, and these satellites will cover the earth in such a way that internet connectivity will be very fast. Okay, so here it is given, Starlink is a project by SpaceX to provide high speed internet access to everyone or anywhere in the world, causing using a constellation of thousands of the low Earth orbit satellites. Okay, so they will go for a web of thousands of satellites, and these satellites will cover Earth in a such a way that they will provide a speedy, high speed internet connections all over the world. Okay, so that name is Starlink. Other than that, there is OneWeb. Okay, then there is this Copier. So all these are the projects which are working on the same lines. Okay, now coming to the you can say our FDI related norms. Musk likely to unveil $2 to $3 billion India investment during this particular visit. Okay, so that is why we are going for this particular relaxation in the FDI. Now 100% FDI has been allowed in the space sector category of manufacturing and operational satellites, satellite data products, and ground segment, user segment. Okay, out of which 74% would be through the automatic route, and the government node would be required for more than 74%. Okay, so 100% FDI is allowed. One thing. Second thing is, when you are going for the up to 74%, you can go for the automatic route. Automatic route means that you don't have to take a government's approval over here. Okay, so that is one thing. And if you are going for the beyond 74%, in that case you have to take government approval as well. Okay, so that is one thing. Here, under the earlier policy, any foreign investment in manufacturing and the operational satellite was allowed only with the government approval. Okay, so one thing is that they are talking about 74% in the manufacturing and the operational satellites. Okay, second is, automatic FDI has been allowed to permitted up to 49% for the launch vehicle and associated system, subsystems, and the creation of spaceport for launching the satellites and receiving spacecraft. Okay, so if it is about launching or launch vehicles, or launching a spacecraft or receiving a spacecraft or making a spaceport, all such things, there is a 49% FDI which has been allowed under the automatic route, and more than that you have to take government's permission. Okay, and then there is this third particular element, which is manufacturing of the components, systems, subsystems for the satellites, ground segment, and the user segment will be fully under 100% automation route. Okay, so when we are talking about the manufacturing sector, since we are trying to give a push to our own manufacturing sector, so in that particular here we have gone for the 100% automatic route, so that industry can be set up inside India. Okay, when we are talking about the launch sites, okay, or when we are talking about the launching vehicle, etc., in that 49% is allowed. And when we are talking about the you can say arena, wherein they are talking about this particular manufacturing and operationalizing satellites. Okay, operationalizing satellite here means that the collection of data, etc., all these things will be under that. Okay, operations of the satellites. Okay, so that would be basically 74%. Here the definitions are given for your own understanding. You can go through these definitions. Satellite manufacturing and operation has been defined: end-to-end manufacturing, supply of the satellites, payload, etc., establishing the satellite systems, including control in orbit operations of the satellites and the payloads. Okay, so what they are doing is manufacturing as well as the operation, even placing it in the orbit. So all these things are part of your manufacturing and operation. Then satellite data products means that receiving, sending and receiving data, analyzing the data, all these things are part of this particular thing. Then ground segment, that satellites will have this particular interaction with the ground from the satellites, so that ground segment is there. And then user segment, it is part of the application. Then launch vehicles and the associated system and subsystem, which we have already discussed over here, wherein sending and receiving the satellite, making the launch vehicle, all these things are part of that. So you can go through these definitions. You don't have to remember these definitions. Remember that in which sector how much of the FDI is permitted. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now we can move further. Now in the health sector, there is this particular you can say issue which is concerning, that when we are talking about the this particular data which has been maternal mortality ratio. Maternal mortality ratio, if we see, it is a indicator of women's health in a country. You can say it is an indicator of health preparedness in the country. Okay, so that is why this indicator is quite important. Recently what has happened, that there was this 23 years old lady in a village of Tamil Nadu. She died during the pregnancy because of the cardiac arrest. Okay, now the family members did not have any idea about this thing. Okay, and the doctors also did not get any idea about this thing, because the primary healthcare sector in the village was not up to mark. considering, we can say that this particular incident could have been avoided, but it was not avoided if the doctors had known, or the family people had known that there was this condition of cardiac arrest, etc., or you can say there is any kind of cardiovascular disease the female was going through. So in that case, it could have been avoided, but the thing is, our health preparedness is not up to mark. The facilities, or the primary healthcare facilities which are given in a village, they are not up to mark. And when we are talking about pregnancy related issue, okay, which is already kind of a sensitive issue. Now when we are looking at the data here, you can see that when maternal mortality ratio, when we are talking about, this is you can say number per lakh live births, okay. So in 2014-16 it was 130, and in 2018-20 it has decreased to 97, okay. So we can say that there was an improvement, but the thing is still a long way to go. When we are talking about these SDGs, or the sustainable development goal, by 2030 you have to be at 70, okay. These 70 you can say MMR should be 70 per lakh live birth, okay. Right now it is 97, okay. Now why MMR matters? Maternal mortality ratio is a key indicator of the public health preparedness. Over the last 2 decades, India's MMR has gone down by 70%. According to 2022 study, government data says that it is 97 deaths per lakh live birth between 2018 to 20, okay. So this data you can please remember, last 2 data you can remember. What is the recent data? That is 97, and what is the goal? That is by 2030 we have to achieve a goal of 70 MMRs per lakhs, okay. So that is about this particular thing. Now we will see what are the leading cause when we are talking about the maternal death. This is including hemorrhage, then pregnancy related infections, and hypertension disorder, etc., okay. So these are the leading cause. When we are talking about the issue related to heart diseases, since this particular news was related to cardiovascular arrest which has happened, so causes of heart diseases in mothers: pregnancy increases the risk of the cardiovascular events due to the metabolic changes. During the pregnancy, a body of a woman goes through various changes, okay, and in that particular, metabolic changes can be there which can increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Now cardiovascular changes happen in the mother within the first 8 weeks of the pregnancy, peaking around the delivery, okay. So as you are moving towards the delivery, it will increase. So that is the time when we are talking about the first 8 weeks, that is the time where you can go for the detection of such things, and accordingly you can plan, okay. So that is thing which was lacking in our primary healthcare sector in that particular visit, because of which that lady has to lose her life. Now lower economic strata woman may have undiagnosed congenital heart diseases, as I told you, undiagnosed, okay. Most of the cases they did not have this realization that they are going through certain changes, and that can relate to any kind of cardiovascular disease. Now ICMR study on maternal death. So after seeing this particular incident that has happened, ICMR has gone for a study. The Indian Council of Medical Research is funding a study to analyze maternal death due to the heart diseases. The study aim is to develop a treatment protocol to prevent future mortality from the heart diseases in the pregnancy. Now it is emphasizing on the collaborations between the cardiologist and the obstetricians in the managing pregnant woman with heart diseases. So basically those who are taking care of the woman at the time of the delivery, and then when we are talking about the cardiologist, they can collab on this particular thing, so that such deaths and such incidents can be avoided, okay. So I hope this is clear. Now we can move to the another part. Around the world, there is this particular statement, or you can say, Cameron in Jerusalem says that G7 needs to warn Iran over the tensions. Israel has clearly decided to retaliate against the Iran's for missile and drone attack. Okay. Now there was this there was this attack on the embassy in Syria, Iranian embassy in Syria, and it was said by the Iranian authorities that the attack was launched from the Israeli side. Israel has not taken the responsibility, and then Iran has retaliated by attacking on Israel. Nearly 300 missiles were shot on Israel, okay. But then now Israel has said that they will retaliate as well, okay. So now that is the situation which is worsening in the Middle East. So here you can say the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, after meeting with the German and the British foreign minister, said, "We will make our own decision. Israel will do everything necessary to defend itself." Iran says that they are ready for any kind of military confrontation which is happening over there. Okay, Washington and the other Western governments hope hope new economic sanctions against Iran. Okay, so basically they are saying that they can go for the economic sanctions against Iran so that Israel might not go for the further escalations. Okay, but again, considering the situation which is happening in Israel right now, Israel is taking some bad decisions. Okay, right now when we are talking about the Israel Hamas issue, they are going for an unended war, they are continuing the war. Now they are doing the same thing with this particular situation as well. Okay, so that is about the situation in Middle East. And then Emirates suspends check-in at Dubai after record rain, which we have already discussed. So that is about your around the world. Now for your own read, there are two articles. One is related to this Surya Tilak, okay, that has happened in you can say Ayodhya Ram temple. So I will not go into details of this article or the positioning of lenses, etc. That is of no use. But the thing is, they are talking about the mirrors and the lenses. Okay, mirrors and the lenses which has been used in that particular system, so that they can divert all the rays from the, they can either send this rays in a way that it will reach up to the Surya Tilak. Now the thing is, they are talking about mirrors, lenses. These are basically, you can say, part of your static in your physics, or you can say science and technology. UPSC has tendency that they will give you one or two questions from the basics. Okay, you must have heard about that question which was related to the pressure cooker. Okay, so these things are from the basic science and technology. There are chances that they might ask you about the focal length or the focus or the reflections, etc., from mirrors or lenses. So please go through these concepts. Okay, now moving further, the last part that is related to your another article that is related to China's economy. So recently it was seen that in the last quarter China's economy has done well, better than the expected, or you can say what the growth data has been anticipated. The reason behind is that there is still a sluggish you can say domestic demand over there. Okay, there are issues in their real estate sector which are persistent over there, but the thing is, this particular change has happened because of the exports. China has gone for the export. There was this demand world over which has increased, and because of which China has provided for the exports, and ultimately that is how we can see this particular growth. Okay, now if this is permanent or temporary, that is another topic, but the thing is, right now you can go through these one or two initial paragraphs, so that you can get an idea about the situation. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now last part of the day, that is your practice question. Under the latest FEMA rules, how much FDI is allowed through the automatic route for the launch vehicles and the associated systems or subsystems? So here they are talking about the launch vehicles and associated systems. Okay, options are 100, 74, 49 and 25. So you can attempt this question and answer in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. I'll see you in the next lecture. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.